You call me up and you say, I was just hit by a truck and trailer. And I was like, oh, okay. Are you okay? He said, yeah, but my car's busted up. I'm like, okay, well, why don't you tell me what happened? So you said that you were going along the street. The truck was in the left-hand lane. You were in the right-hand lane. This is a two-lane street. You were trying to get over and he wouldn't let you and then hit you. I go, okay. So, so where were you exactly? Where did the hit take place? And you say, well, it was the back of my vehicle on the driver's side. It was the front of his vehicle. I'm like, okay. I take a look at the scene photos, and it looks like you were trying to merge into his lane. Is that correct? Well, yeah, I just, I hate being I hate being back of truck and trailers. They're so slow. So I thought I'd just get ahead of him. I was going to make a left-hand turn up in about a mile. I wanted to be in that lane, and then he hit me. So then I called the other carrier, and I talked to the claim rep there that's talked with her driver. Her driver says, well, I was driving in the left-hand lane. It was stop and go traffic. And that guy merged in front of me and hit me. Okay. So I say, well, can you send me the dash cam from the truck? And they're like, sure. So I take a look at it and I call you back. And I go, well, it appears that you're at fault. And you say, that's not true. I said, okay. Let me just walk you through it and I'll explain it to you exactly why you're at fault. So you're in stop and go traffic. So there's a bunch of cars over here. The truck's right here. This is you. This is my insured. So they're cruising along and you're like, oh no, I need to make a left-hand turn right here. And this is a one-way street, both going that way. So the truck's like this, and you're like trying to nose in. You're trying to nose in, and then you see a space, so then you do like this, right? Now, the truck is carrying about 7,000 pounds of weight in the trailer when it's full. Even more if it's fluid or something heavier. That's a lot of momentum. So he's like, and you're like, well, he wouldn't let me in. So I just decided to take matters into my own hands and he hit me. I don't understand why I'm at fault. Well, when you change lanes, so everybody is in a lane, everyone has a right of way. They're, they have a right to be in their lane of traffic, to be perfectly safe, to continue on. He's continuing on. You have the greater duty not to impede his right of way. So once you start doing like this, it's very hard for truck and trailers to stop on a dime. And I think a lot of people expect that. These aren't passenger cars. They're, big, huge trucks and trailers that they're moving. They have about 70 pounds of cargo on their trailer. They're trying to maneuver in traffic. And you go in thinking that he's just going to stop on a dime and he hits you. So you also have to consider that truckers are sitting way up here. So this place right here on their passenger side, up by their front, is very difficult for them to see. Some trucks have right here, you're in my blind spot. So if you had wanted to get over here, you should have just let him pass and then taken your turn, your left-hand turn. So a different scenario here is that you're doing like this, and this is stop and go traffic. So everybody's moving, you know, slowly, right? And then you start trying to get in, trying to get him to stop so you can get in. And he pulls up with the flow of traffic and hits you. You know, it's not up to the truck in this situation to let you in as a courtesy. It's not a law. A lot of people think that it's a law that trucks have to let you in when you want to. That's not true. It's a courtesy. Again, when you're merging, you have the greater duty to make sure this lane is clear, and that you can safely merge into it without causing an accident. Well, in traffic situations, we all need to be safe. We all need to be cautious. We all need to have proper lookout. There's a standard of the reasonable person. What would a reasonable person do? And you know, it comes down to the fact that that you were merging into his lane, and it was your duty to make sure the way was clear, and that you could safely merge into his lane. You say, okay, well, what am I going to do about my vehicle? Well, I say, well, you know, I took a look at your policy, and I'm not seeing that it was enforced. You're like, what? I said, well, we had sent you notices on this date and that date and this date, and we never received payment. So you don't have a policy that was enforced. And you say, oh, okay, well, I forgot to pay the bill. I'll just pay it right now, and then you can pay for the accident. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't retroactively pay for a claim. You have to have in-force coverage on the date of loss at the time of loss. So if you get into an accident and 5 minutes later you call in and try to get coverage, the claim handler is going to take a look at exactly what time the payment came in, and they're going to say, well, you didn't have coverage at the time. You can't do that. You can't just, you know, have an accident and pay for the coverage. So you say, well, what am I going to do? I'm like, well, when you don't have any coverage, that means that you've chosen to self-insure yourself. So you've looked at your finances, and you've seen that you can pay for any losses that may occur. Claims are one of those unexpected things that happen, and you have the insurance because you can't pay for the damage that's caused to your vehicle or to the other vehicle. Unfortunately, you did not do that. And you go, oh, okay, well, you know, I'll just get it fixed myself. I'm like, okay. And then you say, well, is that it? And I'm like, well, no, that's not it. The other truck company may give you a call with a subrogation demand. That's where they're looking for payment for their damages, and you will be personally responsible for that. As well as if their driver is injured, you will also be personally responsible for that damage also. And you say, oh, okay. What I will do is I will issue a denial letter so that you have everything in writing. I will give you the information for the other trucking company as well as their claim number, their contact number. But as far as we're concerned as an insurance company, is that we're not a participant. We don't have any insurable loss because there was no coverage in force. So when you're out there driving, make sure that your coverage is in force, that you paid your bills, or that the person whose vehicle you are in, that you are a permissible driver, the person who owns the vehicle, whose policy is in their name, that they paid the bill, so that there's a valid coverage.